I absolutely love keyboard shortcuts in Gmail. And if you're a power user of Gmail or you want to be a power user, you should get to know these keyboard shortcuts. They really make moving through your mailbox a lot quicker, and they save you the extra strain of having to move your mouse all around. I think that can cause carpal tunnel syndrome. So keyboard shortcuts are actually better for your health. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is just some keyboard shortcuts for navigating your mailbox. In another video, we'll look at keyboard shortcuts for navigating through conversations. The first thing you want to do is make sure your keyboard shortcuts are enabled. So I'll go to Mail Settings, and then my keyboard shortcuts are on. Great. If they're off, you'll want to turn them on and then click Save at the bottom of this screen. Clicking the Learn More will open up the Google Gmail help page with the keyboard shortcut. So this is great. You might want to print this out and keep it by your desk. Google used to have these great keyboard stickers where you could put the stickers on your keyboard and the stickers told you the different keyboard shortcuts, but they discontinued those. I'm hoping they'll come out with those again soon. I have them on my MacBook and they're a great conversation starter. Okay, I'll go ahead and close this tab. Another way to quickly see the shortcuts is to press question mark. So if I hit the question mark key, so that would be Shift//, I see my keyboard shortcuts. Now, I don't expect you to memorize all of these keyboard shortcuts, maybe just learn 2 or 3 new ones a week. I'm going to show you the keyboard shortcuts I use the most often. So the letter C, if you press the letter C, it takes you to the Compose Mail screen. So that's a handy one to know. That's C for Compose Mail. I do a lot of searching my mailbox to find my messages. Instead of clicking in the search box, I just press the / and that automatically takes my cursor to the search box. One thing you should know about that, if you're in a form field, so if I was in a field here where I'm writing an email and then I press the / well, it's just going to type the /. So you can't be in an email or a conversation field to use that keyboard shortcut. When I'm reading a message and I want to archive that message, I just press the letter Y and the message is archived. If you're not sure what the keyboard shortcut did, you can take a look at this yellow butter bar, they call it, and it tells you the last action that you've just taken. So this confirms I've just archived the message. I'm going to archive another message now, so I'll open the message. I'm going to press Y to archive. Now I want to undo that archive, so I'm going to press the letter Z, and that will undo my last action. So undo is only available when you see an undo link. So I'll show you that again. I press Y to archive. There's an undo link. Instead of clicking on the undo link, I'll just press the Z, and that will undo my last action. Okay, how about deleting messages? So if you've got a message open or you just have the message selected and you want to delete that message, press the pound key. So that would be Shift/3 and my message has been moved to the trash. To star a selected message, when the message is open or selected, just press the letter S and a star appears. You can press S again and the star disappears. I'm going to do some flashing stars here just by pressing the letter S. We're going to be talking about priority inbox in this course, and one of the things you can do with priority inbox is mark messages as important or unimportant. We'll be looking at that feature later in this course, but I just want to show you the keyboard shortcuts that correspond with these buttons. Mark as important, mark as not important. So I'm going to show you the keyboard shortcuts that correspond with these buttons. So if you want to mark a message as important, press the plus key. So I've just marked the message as important. This label appears. If I want to mark it as unimportant, press the minus key. So it is now not important. So if you use Priority Mailbox, those are some keyboard shortcuts you should be aware of. Let's talk about keyboard shortcuts for responding to messages or replying to all. So I've got this message open and there's several recipients here. So Jeff sent this message to Chris, Abraham, and me. I can reply just to Jeff by pressing the letter R. So that would just reply to Jeff. Or I can press A to reply to all. And you probably guessed what F does. If you are in a message and you press the letter F, it will forward your messages. Okay, let's talk a little bit about labeling messages now. So if you're someone who really takes advantage of labels and wants to use your keyboard shortcuts to label a message, well, when you've got a message open, press the letter L, and then your labels will appear, and then I can go ahead and just select the label. Now, if I want to label a message and archive it, that would be the Move To menu. I just press the letter V. So V will take me to the Move To menu. And then I can archive this and give it that label. So I just archived the message and gave it the Photos Meeting label. If you need to get somewhere in your email, you can do that usually starting with the letter G. So this is called a combo key. So if I want to go to my all mail, I'll press G and then A, and that will take me to my all mail. I'll go back to my inbox. Let's say now I want to go to my starred messages. I'll press G and then S, and that takes me to my starred messages. So those are some common keyboard shortcuts for moving through your mailbox. The ones that I recommend you start with are C for compose mail, R to respond to one person in a message, A to respond to everyone, F to forward a message, Y to archive a selected message, and pound to delete a message. It will really save you a lot of time and arm strain. I'm going to show you some keyboard shortcuts now for navigating through conversations and messages. So we should probably get our vocabulary straight. Each line in your inbox is a conversation. Conversations can be composed of multiple messages, like this conversation is composed of 3 different messages. So when you select a conversation and it's open and you want to move to a newer conversation, press the letter K. Notice my date here is changing so that I am going to be more current. So I'm moving to the newer conversations with the letter K, or I can use J to move through to older conversations. So if you get a lot of email and you just quickly need to move to the conversations, you can move through your inbox with J or K. So that's how you move through the conversations. Pressing the letter U will return you to your mailbox. When you're in a conversation composed of multiple messages, you can use N and P to select different messages. So notice I press P and it selects the previous message. This black triangle indicates where I am. So I've just selected the message from Abraham, and now if I press enter, for example, it would open the message. Again, I could press N, that selects the message from Chris, and I can press enter to open that message. U will return me to my mailbox. Notice I can also move to different conversations in my mailbox with this black arrow here. So I've selected this message from Google Calendar. Again, I can move the arrow up or down with K to go to newer ones and J to go to older conversations. And then once I've got a conversation, I have the arrow there. If I press O, it'll open that conversation. So again, I've done this whole video without even moving my mouse. If you want to see more keyboard shortcuts for moving through conversations, just press the question mark key and your keyboard shortcuts will appear on the screen. So those ones I just showed you was this, the navigation keyboard shortcuts. I'll go ahead and press close. And always check out the keyboard shortcut list, because as Google changes and Gmail has new features, they add new keyboard shortcuts that work with those new features. So maybe you love keyboard shortcuts, but you don't really like the keyboard shortcuts that Google has selected. Well, you can actually create your own keyboard shortcuts with the Custom Keyboard Shortcuts Lab, and I'll show you how that works. So maybe instead of C to compose a new message, you want W to compose a new message. That's fine. If you don't see the labs link when you click on the gear, it means you don't have any labs enabled yet. Once you have at least one lab enabled, you'll see the labs link appear here. So if you don't see the labs link, then just click on Mail Settings and then click on the Labs tab. Go into your lab area and you're going to want to enable a lab. I'll search for it. It's called Custom Keyboard Shortcuts. Here it is. I'll click Enable, then I'll save my changes. This adds a new tab to my Gmail settings, so we need to go back into our mail settings. and I've got a new tab here, and it's called Keyboard Shortcuts. So right now I see the keyboard shortcuts that Google has assigned to these different actions, but I can change these. I can add additional keyboard shortcuts. Maybe I want C or C and the asterisk key to create a new message. Or maybe I don't want this to be C anymore. I want this to be Q. So I want compose mail to be Q. So I'll go ahead and save my changes. I'm getting this error that says 1 action per key. That means Q has already been assigned to another keyboard shortcut. Okay, that's good to know. Let's find it. Oh, I see. Focus on chat, contact, search. I'm going to go ahead and make this keyboard shortcut C and an asterisk. Okay. So it's saved. So now when I press the letter Q, it magically takes me to compose mail. So that's how I would create my custom keyboard shortcuts. And you can change those at any time by going into mail settings and keyboard shortcuts. They call it the mapping. So when you change the mapping here, it overwrites the default settings. If you just want to go back to default, just uninstall this keyboard shortcuts lab. Or you could just press restore defaults. So I'll restore defaults, and then that returns C to compose mail. But you could also just uninstall the lab. If there are certain areas of your mailbox, maybe your settings or your filter or a certain search that you visit often, you might want to use the Quick Links lab to quickly get to that section of your mailbox. So your quick links will appear on the left-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and enable that lab to show you what it looks like. I'll go into mail settings. I'll select labs. I'm going to search for it. So here it is, Quick Links. Okay, I'll save that. So I've got this new box here called Quick Links. So here are my quick links. I don't have any quick links right now. What I would do is I would go to a section of my mailbox, maybe my labs. As you've seen in this course, I come here quite often. I'll go to my quick links and I'll select add quick links. And I can give this a label. It will suggest a label, but I want to call it labs. Okay. So now when I'm in my inbox, instead of having to go up to my mail settings to get to labs, I can just come here and click labs and I'll go to labs. This also works for searches. So let's say maybe a search I do quite often is I look for messages from Abraham. So I want to actually save this from Abraham search. So what I do is go to add quick links and I can call this search from Abraham. And so I've added this quick link. So now anytime I want to do a search of messages from Abraham, I just click search from Abraham. And this is going to update with the latest results. So today is the 28th of June. It's not just showing me the results for the 28th of June. When I click that in the future, it will show me the most current results for Abraham. If you need to delete a quick link, just click on the X here and it will delete the quick link. So just a reminder, you go to the page that you want to save as a quick link. So maybe it's my photos label. And maybe within my photos label, I search for messages that have the word quarantine in them. So this is a search in my photos label. I would then go to my quick links and I would add the quick links. If I can just use their suggested label if I want, if that's meaningful to me. And then I can always come back to this search results. Unfortunately, you can't change the position of quick links. They're always going to be here, and they're also going to appear in the order in which you added them. So you can't change the position of the quick link gadget, and you can't change the order of the quick links. If you want to remove quick links, just disable the lab quick links. In response to user requests, there's now a lab that lets you add a preview pane to your mailbox. So to set that up, you need to go to your labs by selecting the gear and choosing labs. Then search for a lab with the word preview in it. It's called preview pane. So here it is, and you'll go ahead and just enable this lab. Whenever you enable a lab, you have to select Save Changes. And when my mailbox loads again, I've got this new button here that I can use to toggle between the different views. So if I want to have a vertical split, I'll select vertical split, and this puts a split on the vertical. So if I were to select this conversation, I'm able to preview it here. This is a conversation made up of 2 messages, and I can view both messages here. When I select a new message, this was an unread message, I can preview this message. I still have all of the buttons here that I can apply to the message, as well as the contact details here, and the pull-down menu in the top right of each message. So if you like the vertical preview, you can do this. Or if you want to do a horizontal split, I'll select horizontal split. So when I select a conversation, the conversation appears below here. Now, if I need to move down through the conversation or scroll through it, I can use this scroll bar here on the right. And if I have a long list of messages in my inbox, I can use the scroll bar here to scroll through those messages. Again, when you select a new message, it appears unread for about 3 seconds, and then it will appear read here. You can go into your settings to change the number of seconds until it appears unread. So we'll go ahead and choose the gear, then I'll choose mail settings. And when I scroll through about a third of the way down my general settings, I see preview pane, and I can choose to mark a conversation as read immediately, after 1 second, or after 3 seconds, or never. I think 3 seconds is a pretty good amount. So I'll go back to my inbox here, and again, I do need to select a conversation to see it in the preview pane. If you want to turn off the preview, just select no split, and then you'll just see your mailbox how you normally see it. And if you don't want this option at all, you can go ahead and disable the preview pane lab. So this lab really helps with quickly moving through your messages.